All right, Jesse on fire. My goodness gracious, this is a rough story, dude. It's a rough story, and these pictures of Andrew Tate are. I mean, listen. There's a lot going on here. Andrew Tate. He's hospitalized. He he has a he apparently has a lung cancer thing going on, and they're going to biopsy it. He's been rushed to the hospital. The guy can't breathe. And I'm looking at his pictures. He looks bad, dude. He looks real bad. Tristan looks much better than him. But I will, I'll lay out what I think is going on because I actually think I have a pretty good idea. Well, certainly I have a very strong idea about what's going on with the weight loss. But this thing about his lung cancer, I thought that it was a ploy to get out of jail. You know, like I just thought because I don't know how much you guys know about this, so I'll lay the whole thing out about his lung cancer thing, and then also what's happened since. You know, like so how the lung cancer thing came into play, what happened after that, and then now he's like he's been hospitalized, like just got rushed to the hospital today apparently, and yeah. But nonetheless, dude, even aside from the hospitalization, he looks bad, dude. I mean, he looks bad, dude. He looks bad. My wife has already confirmed that. No, he's okay. So let me share. So I'll share my screen and show you what he looks like, dude. I mean, like, hang on. I'll show you guys the picture. But like, bro, look at him, dude. He looks terrible. So the lung cancer thing, yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so basically, the thing about the lung cancer was obviously his attorneys and his team have been trying to petition the court to release them, right? So they tried like the normal type of appeal that's like, hey guys, you don't have any evidence, and if you did, you would be able to take us to court, but you're saying that you don't. So what are we doing in jail? Denied. Another appeal denied. Another appeal denied. Another appeal denied. Right. So then about a week or two ago, I think it was probably maybe, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or something like that. They said that there had been a letter submitted to the court from a doctor in Dubai that said that he had had some kind of lung cancer scare, and that they needed to release him so that he could address whatever is going on with his lungs, right? So I heard people say that was not true or was true or whatever. But then apparently today he couldn't breathe or something, was having trouble breathing, and they took him out of the jail and they rushed him to the hospital for whatever's going on with his lungs. So who knows? I mean, listen, dude, when I look at him, I see he does not look good at all. And I think there's two reasons for that. Well, I mean, aside from the fact that he's in jail, but I think the main culprits here are, I think it's fair to say relatively certainly that he was on some form of, TRT when he was out. And I'm guessing the Romanian authorities are not giving him testosterone replacement therapy, which means that he's gone cold turkey off of testosterone. And listen, that is a rough ride right there. And that's a rough ride if you're out and doing whatever you want. Okay. Like, it's one of those things where like, there are people who have who have actual like diagnosed clinical depression, right? Like where it's like we're not talking about someone whose girlfriend broke up with them. We're talking about someone who has an actual psychological mental disorder where they get clinical depression, where they can't really, they just feel utter despair. And you can give yourself that experience if you want. If you want to, just go on testosterone for like 4 or 5 years and then just go cold turkey. And you could feel exactly what clinical depression feels like, because everyone will get it. Because when you're a dude and you have 0 testosterone, I can't even explain to you what it feels. It's soul crushing. Like it's absolutely, and to have a person feel like that and then put them in a cell 24 hours. I can't even imagine what that must be like. And the other thing too is like, if you've ever listened to him talk about kind of, how his brain works, he is not a dude that's going to do well sitting in a room for months at a time, dude. You know what I mean? Like he's probably one of the least well-equipped people to sit in a room by himself for that amount of time. I agree that solitary is considered torture, dude. It's like, think about this. When you go to prison, right? You're in there with like the worst people in the world, like the most dangerous people that you could possibly be around. I'm talking like if you're in like a level 4, level 3, level 4 prison, right? Like these people are super dangerous, super dangerous. How do they punish you in that jail? Like in a jail where everyone is dangerous, probably not a whole lot of people that you're like, man, I really like spending time with this guy, maybe here and there, but everybody's dangerous. It's the worst place on earth. How do they punish you if you're bad? They put you in solitary. You know what I mean? They put you in solitary. And so, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I feel, I don't know. It seems very, I don't know, the whole thing. Like, and when they go to court and then they come out, Tristan looks fine. You know what I mean? Like Tristan comes out, he's like, hello, everyone. I'm glad that you're here supporting us. And Andrew looks like he wants to die, dude. He looks like he wants to die. Yeah, with terrible food. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know, dude. Like, just the whole concept of this is just so crazy wrong to me. It's like, you just get to go grab a person and put them into a prison cell and they haven't even been convicted of a crime. How can you do that? I mean, like, I don't know. How could you possibly justify that? You know what I mean? I don't understand how that can be justified when it's the same. I mean, and like, look at Julian Assange. It's like Julian Assange say what you want, but the guy has been locked in solitary confinement for years and years. It's like, dude, convict him of something. Convict him of something. I mean, I understand Romania is different, obviously, but yeah, I mean, but dude, he stuck his finger in the chest of the wrong people, man. These guys do not play. They're like the last. I mean, it seems like common sense, where it's like, oh, the Matrix is coming at you. You're like, dude, do you understand how powerful these people are? Like, do you understand how powerful these people are? You're calling them the Matrix because they literally can shape the brains of the majority. I mean, until like, recently with the rise of independent content creators, they could basically shape the minds of entire populations with no exceptions. So I don't know. To me, I am assuming that this is directly connected with Andrew Tate pressing the wrong people at this point. And so I don't know if it being me as a content creator who obviously is nowhere near as big as Andrew Tate, I would consider this a lesson, where it's like, careful, dude, careful. You really, you do not want to be the number one bad guy on those guys' lists if you have even a toe in illicit business like he did. Like obviously, I'm not saying like cam girls it's like illegal or anything. I don't even know what the laws are. But I think it's fair to say when you're doing business in casinos, cam girls, recruiting girls from international companies and then put them to work in kind of like sex-based work or whatever, it's like you certainly have a toe in. I mean, I think it's legal, but whatever, it's like, dude, stay in your lane. It's one thing to point out, that George Soros, donates money to these kinds of candidates and whatever. It is a completely different ballgame to like directly challenge these people like Andrew Tate did. It's like these people, they have egos bigger than yours. Well, equal. Just like every other powerful person in the world. Like the type of person that gains that amount of power is the kind of person where if you challenge them, they're likely to respond. And so you challenge them directly. They're like, oh, you want to see, you want to see what happens? Let's see how you do in jail for as long as I decide without us even convicting you of a crime. Like the fact that he's in this long, if it's them, which I assume it probably is at this point, it's like the longer that it goes while he's inside without being convicted of a crime is even more a message to him and everybody else. It's like, see what we can do? I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I don't necessarily agree with this, that you have to be like a sociopath. But I do think that the people like that, the really big guys, they're just not used. I mean, some of them I'm sure are sociopaths, but I'm like, they're just not used to anyone like going directly at them like that. And they're just like, especially in Romania, dude. I mean, didn't Andrew Tate specifically say that you can like buy law enforcement? Like, think about that, dude. If you actually think, he's like, I went to Romania because the law enforcement, you could just buy it. It's like, yeah, but that could be used in the opposite direction too, dude. Like you just said that the law enforcement, the judicial system's easily purchased. Like, well, that can be used against you, right? I don't know. What's a rhino? Someone just said an impression of me off a rhino. How long has Tate been arrested and to have a full? He's been in for like 2.5 months. I mean, who knows if he can buy the judges? I mean, the idea that judges can't be bought is absurd. I mean, you just have to know. I mean, I think what you're saying is they can buy the judges. He can't, maybe. But, Rhino that bills for the gas station. No, I just take the real thing, dude. I take the real thing. Yeah, I mean, because like there are ridiculous number of examples of just absolutely stone corrupt judges across all of history in the United States. It's like, and those stories are really crazy when you dig under the hood. It's like if you go to Chicago in like the 80s, there were judges that got popped rigging mafia trials for like 20 grand. A judge, like a judge, they rigged a mafia murder trial for like 20 grand. 20 grand? It's insane. Do you understand how little oversight there must be for you to think that that is an amount of money that's acceptable to rig a trial? Because the only way that you would do that is if you thought there was absolutely no way that you could possibly get caught. Like you just have a completely corrupt city where you're like, shit, I don't care if this murderer goes through. There's so many murderers out here anyway. Sure. 20K. I should probably drive a harder bargain than that. But all right, 20K. It's insane. And if you think like in the exact same situation, so when John Gotti was on trial, when Jacqueline, the girl who was prosecuting him, the one that, man, what a shish garbage district attorney she was. She got people killed, man. So a little bit of history on the Gambino crime family, John Gotti and all that stuff. So Diane Jacqueline was the district attorney for the state. I think it's just state or I think, either city or state district attorney, not a federal prosecutor. And she had a trial she had a case against John Gotti, and they were prosecuting him for stuff. They had like this kind of like weird tape that you could kind of hear him talking on, whatever. And Sammy Gravano, Sammy the Bull, got brought. One of the jurors reached out to the mob and they were like, hey, I'm on John Gotti's his jury. Let's work something out. So Sammy, the guy wanted $100 grand. The guy wanted $100 grand to rig the trial. Sammy got him down to $60K. So they paid the guy $60,000 for a 100% hung jury or not guilty. And the guy just was immovable when he was in there. They're all deliberating. You got to get 100% guilty to send him. And so that guy that they had bought, he flipped the whatever. So he ended up getting acquitted. So he got $60K. They ended up getting caught for that because when the feds finally brought a case against John Gotti and all those guys knew they were going down for sure, that's when Sammy cooperated. I mean, there's a lot more to it than this, but anyway, that juror ended up getting caught and it was $60K. So a juror, it took $60K at the same time. And a judge took 20, which is just insane, dude. And then there's the other one, the most reprehensible corrupt judge story I've ever heard is the one about the guy who was taken. There was a private prison, and this guy was a juvenile judge, right? Like, so he took like juvenile delinquent cases, and when the juveniles would get sentenced, they were getting sent to this private prison, and the state would pay a certain amount to the private prison for everybody who got imprisoned there. And so every time he would sentence a kid, they knew like what the state would, call it like, I don't know, whatever, $30,000 a year for each year that the kid would get sentenced for or whatever. And he had a deal with the private prison owner that every kid that he sentenced, he would get a kickback. And so this absolute piece of human trash was sentencing children to detention. He was imprisoning these kids for things like, when you actually look into the story, it's like a kid, like I think what the craziest one was, like the kid was at a dinner table and he like got mad and threw ketchup across the room, and the cops came and they ended up bringing him in, and the kid got a year in this private juvenile hall for like throwing ketchup across the room. So like, I can't remember. Like, I mean, the judge ended up getting caught and he got shipped to jail. And I mean, what kind of sick, demented person could take money for imprisoning children, dude? Insane. Yeah. But, Yasar, thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated, good sir. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Chivarella? Yeah, let's look up that piece of. Yep, that's exactly right. This guy. He has to pay 200 million. Sent kids to jail for kickbacks, dude. Two former Pennsylvania judges who orchestrated a scheme to send children to for-profit jails in exchange for kickbacks were ordered to pay more than $200 million to hundreds of people they victimized in one of the worst judicial scandals in U.S. history. The U.S. judge, Christopher Connor, awarded $106 million in compensatory damages and $100 million in punitive damages to nearly 300 people in a long-running civil suit running against the judges. I mean, these guys they're not going to be able to pay that, but I guarantee they paid all the money that they had to their defense. And what came to be known as the Kids for Cash scandal, Mark Ciavarella and another judge, Michael Conahan, shut down a county-run juvenile detention center and accepted $2.8 million in illegal payments from the builder and co-owner of two for-profit lockups. Ciavarella, who presided over juvenile court, pushed a zero-tolerance policy that guaranteed large numbers of kids would be sent to PA childcare, Pennsylvania childcare, and its sister facility, Western PA childcare. To call that childcare is absolutely absurd. Kiddie jail. He ordered children as young as 8 to detention, many of them first-time offenders deemed delinquent for petty theft, jaywalking, truancy, smoking on school grounds, and other minor smoking on school grounds. The judge often ordered youths he had found delinquent to be immediately shackled, handcuffed, and taken away without giving them a chance to put up a defense or even say goodbye to their families. Dude, this story is so crazy. Their cruel and despicable actions victimized a vulnerable population of young people. Many were suffering from emotional issues and mental health concerns. Well, I'm sure they certainly were when they got out, too. They threw out some 4,000 juvenile convictions of more than 2,300 kids. 2,300 kids. And it's unlikely that the now adult victims will ever see a fraction of the eye popping. Of course, these guys don't have that money. But guess what? Ciavarella is serving a 28-year prison sentence. That's exactly what he should get. That is perfect. And the other guy, 17 years. But he was released to home confinement because of the coronavirus. What? Conahan was released to home confinement in 2020 because of the coronavirus pandemic. Wow. Connor ruled after hearing often emotional testimony last year from 282 people who appeared in the county's juvenile. Oh, man, this was going on for 79 of whom were under 13. Unreal, dude. They recounted his harsh and arbitrary nature, his disdain for due process, his extraordinary abruptness, and his cavalier and boorish behavior. I remember hearing this, and then like watching him like, oh my, I'm so sorry. When he got caught, you're like, fuck you, guy. Oh, you're sad now? Oh, look at this, dude. Hey, remember when the kids were crying? Remember when the kids cried? Here's what we have for you. Fuck you, guy. Go. Bye-bye. What's with he's not, I mean, depends on how you define juice. Testosterone replacement is not juice, really. It's like, it just, like, I'm on testosterone replacement, and I got my testosterone tested last week, and it's at 879, which is it totally inside what normal is, which is what, I guarantee that's what he's doing. Oh, first of all, he wasn't even supposed to be able to be held, period. It was supposed to be 30 days. And then at the end of the 30 days, they extended it another 30 days. And then at the end of that 30 days, they extended it another 30 days. They still have not charged him. $879 is on the high side of normal. Like normal is 200 to like 1,000 or something like that. If you go over 1,000, then it's like that's over normal. Anyway, it's awful, dude. I feel really bad for him, dude. I just feel bad for, and they're saying, yeah, and then now he got rushed to the hospital. He can't, like he said, he couldn't breathe, and and he had this lung cancer thing from the doctor in Dubai or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, don't compare him to Epstein, man. Like Epstein's their best friend. Epstein, I have made this bet before, and I will say it again. If I absolutely had to bet suicide, murder, alive, I just think I would say alive most likely, but the only thing that gives me pause is I watched the autopsy guy, the dude that did the coroner that did the autopsy that was talking about his injuries, and he came off really believable to me that like he actually had examined his body and all that. So I don't know, but the reason why I would have jumped to alive is just because, like, dude, if your job is blackmailing the most powerful people in the world, you have to have a dead man's trigger. You have to, or else they'll just kill you. They'll just kill you. You know? Just bottom line. Like, they would just kill you. Like, it's, you know what I mean? You're like, hey, man. So, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Just because I think it's so funny, dude. It's like, laughing at the misfortune of the most powerful people in the world is pretty fun. You know what I mean? So it's like you get one of these guys like, man, I've heard, Jeffrey, I've heard that island is just an amazing utopia. He's like, oh, you have no idea, man. You should definitely come out next time. Hey, you know who else is going to be there? Top 3 of the most powerful people in the world. They're like, oh my God, they're going to be there. Oh yeah. We're going to have a blast. Lots of ladies too. Lots of ladies. Oh, great. Great. Hey, best thing about it. Anything you see at the island is all yours. There are no rules out there. You see it and you want it, you take it. That's the only rule on the island. If you see something you want, you just take it. And these guys go out there and they're like, well, man, I can have anything I want on the mainland. I can buy anything I want. What's the one thing I want that I can't normally have? They're all, how about this, huh? Huh? How about a little teenager, on the mainland? This would be a no-no. Out here, there are no laws, man. Look at, don't pretend like you didn't think that your little 16-year-old niece's friends didn't look good. Look at her. She looks just like them, dude. There's no rules out here, man. Get after it. Use any of the rooms that you want. Lots of things that you can use as toys, etc. And this stupid fuck, they just walk right into the trap. They're all, oh, and the girls are like, yeah, sure, let's go in the thing. Fucking wired for sound, like HD quality of the guy just like, ugh, ugh. Here, I want to put you on this leash. I want to put you on a leash, little girl. Ah! Just the most depraved, demented fucks on earth, dude. And then afterwards, the next day, he's like, oh my gosh, I've had so much fun, Jeffrey. He's like, so I think it's time that we have a little conversation. I've enjoyed our time together as well, but there's something you should know. You know how I said there were no rules? Well, that was true. Thing is, there were a lot of cameras and we were wired for sound. So all the things you said to that little girl who's 15, we got it all. We have all of that stuff. We were wired for sound and video. By the way, if you guys could like this stream and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, go ahead and do that, because you never know when I'm just going to drop a Jeffrey Epstein impression that gives you guys special insight into what it was like to be in the seat the second you realized that you were forever indebted to him, But yeah, so What I'd like to show you now is what you look like when sleeping with a child. Here. Ooh, I like that part. You're a dirty boy. You're a dirty boy. She looks like that was hurting her more than enjoying. How do you think the public would, what do you think they would think about that? Gosh. Man. Here's the good news. You know who else fell for that honey trap? Bill Clinton. You're in good company. You know who else? Kevin Spacey. You know who else? Gates. You know who else? This billionaire. So don't worry. You're not in bad company. That said, here's what's going to happen. I just became your best friend. And you want to know why? Because I'm the guy that's going to make sure that no one ever sees that tape. Ever. Right? You do me favors. I do you one big favor. And it's the biggest favor you're ever going to have, because if anybody ever saw that tape, I think you would have a serious problem. So what I need you to do is I need you to ask around the scientific community and see if anyone in Iran has any ideas about what kind of, how they're going to be enriching uranium. You can just kind of let me know about that, because the Israelis will be very interested in that. Also, if you could go ahead and wire $30 million to my trust, that would be great. We'll just do that once a year. It's not very much money for you. It's, I think it's a lot less than what it would cost if anyone ever saw that. So we're good, right? We're best friends. Here's the good news. Now that we got this out of the way, you can consider this an island paradise. I've already got you by the balls. So you can come back and do this whenever you want, dude. You can do it whenever you want. You know, I have leverage on you, but now we can just be friends. So come on back. Take whatever you want. Take anything you want. Now, hypothetically, if you were this guy who he just did that to, who's a billionaire, right? What are you thinking in your head? You're like, I'm going to kill this fuck, right? I'm going to kill this guy. I am going to kill this dude. And so what do you think the next obvious sentence out of this guy's mouth is going to be? Epstein. It's like, oh, and by the way, I know we're best friends now, but just in case you had any ideas about, changing my health status, anything ever happens to me, this goes live. It goes live for you, and it goes live for the rest of the people in my library. So if any of you guys ever start conspiring about getting rid of me or getting rid of this evidence, this thing's already been beamed to about 35 people. And so anything ever happens to me, boo, the bomb drops on your head. So keep that in mind if you get any ideas about putting me down. Because you put me down, you better put yourself down. Unless you want to live through the fallout of anyone seeing you put a dog collar on a 15-year-old that you have bent over a bedpost. So I'm just saying, now let's go back to being best friends. And so if you got that going on, right? Then what happens when you end up locked up? You're in the New York detention center because some prosecutor who wasn't on the inside locked you up. You're like, hey, guy, remember the conversation that we had on the island about if anything happens to me? So consider me being in jail something happening to me. So I really need you to figure this out. I need you to figure this out, because if I'm still in jail in a week, I might just hurt myself. And you know what happens if anything happens to me. So I would say maybe a body double, figure out some kind of story. But I need to be walking out the front door of this place within 7 days, or else you're going to be walking out the back door of your current life. Okay? Figure it out. So that's why I always thought he's probably alive. In addition to the fact that the corpse's ear does not look like his ear at all. But anywho. Actually, what made me think that he was alive is when someone showed me the picture of his ear versus the reported corpse's ear. You guys can look that up on yourself. Look that up yourself. Look up Epstein Corpse Ear. And then look, you might actually have to do it on DuckDuckGo now. But yeah. Wide eyes back on the dope. This is me sober as a judge, my friend. Sober as a judge. When you see MSM blast a story out like they did Epstein, you have to wonder what they're hiding and if it's true. I honestly think they used Hillary's brother's body to snuck. I don't know about Hillary's brother, but totally. And here's the thing. The ear is 100% not identical. That's That's absolutely 100% not accurate. I'm not going to put it on this stream because I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it banged, but that's just 100% wrong. That's just not true, dude. That's just not true at all. Dude, you guys are looking at the wrong thing. If you think that the ear, they might have put some other thing out. Like if you search that, hold on. And I have 100% validated that this is the real picture of the corpse and all that. Oh, look at that. You go on Google, you can't even find it anymore. There we go. What on earth? There we go. Yeah. That looks the same to you? That ain't the same, dude. That ain't the same. But yeah. So, Dustin, thank you very much. Anywho, I think Andrew Tate is in a bad spot, dude. I think he's in a real bad spot. Hopefully they can, you know, I don't know. I hope they let him out, dude. But anywho, what else was I going to talk about? I can't remember. Because they probably gave her up, dude. Probably gave her up. Anyway, yeah, as far as I know, it's McDaniel's. McDaniel said that Dana. That's what McDaniel said. All right, I'm gonna jump, and I'm going to do. Dude, if he did, he wouldn't tell me a thing in the world. That is a dude who understands security, but he laughed at the idea that it was like something crazy. I did the Jordan giveaway. Dude, this guy, he hasn't responded to me, dude. Let me go back. Like, let me say his name again. Hang on. I've sent him 2 emails. Gary Anushian, you won. I'm sending this again. See, check it, you guys. See? Gary Anushian, received. You won, dude. And he's like not responding. It's like, dude, you won. Gary Anushian. If he doesn't respond in another few days, I will. I know that's fair, but I mean, Yeah. I don't how else do I get a hold of him? I put a post in the community tab too. Um but yeah, if he if he doesn't respond, I'll pick another one for show. Anyway, that's what I got.